blah, blah. Now, that might sound bad, I know, but there's really nothing to worry about. The animatronic characters here do get a bit quirky at night.
A bit quirky.
I'm pretty sure I grew up in the right generation. As I enter adulthood, I look back at my childhood and realize that I was kind of born in the perfect time. I had a tablet with internet access, but this was before Cocomelon and TikTok, so my brain wasn't rotten by age 10. Though I definitely had too much freedom on that tablet, and I constantly encountered things that no kid should be watching. For some reason, I had this obsession with watching scary videos on YouTube. These videos could range from watching Markiplier play Five Nights at Freddy's, or watching Mr. Nightmare telling a school lockdown story. I saw this video by Wendigoon where he went over things that traumatized him as a kid, and I thought, hey, I was a child at one point. I got scared of things. While I do think some of my fears were typical for most Zoomers, I was terrified of a lot of things, and some of those things were before my time. So yeah, here are some things that traumatized me as a kid. Well, listen, I'm not begging you to actually, why don't you guys just subscribe? 90%. I discovered Five Nights at Freddy's when I was in the 3rd grade, I think, and I was terrified. The first time I ever heard about it, I saw some kid playing the second game on his phone, and me, having no clue what I was watching, kept watching it, and the next thing you know, I was playing the game myself, and I was absolutely shitting myself. I was so afraid of these things, especially the rabbit. I think it was mostly because of the trailer where he took his mask off, and maybe that stuck with me, I don't know. It's actually kind of sad how afraid I was of these things. I have memories where I was on my tablet watching Markiplier play it, and I was just sitting down covering the entire screen except for his face cam. Like, you know how sad that shit is? I was not only too scared to play the game myself, but I also fucking covered the game and just watched the guy's face as he reacted to playing the game himself. I also distinctly remember having recess gatherings where we would all debate about who caused the bite of 87, and shit would always get heated. So heated we would not play basketball with each other for a week. I was always a Foxy caused it kind of guy, but then people mentioned Mangle, and then other people were saying that was Freddy because of the handprint on his mask, and then other people said it was the fucking rat. Around that time is also when I discovered this thing. I mentioned this in my previous video, but I'll say it again. I was terrified of this thing. I lived in a mostly rural area where people frequently went missing, so my fear was mostly rooted in the fact that if this guy actually went to go after me, he would pretty much get away with it. I mean, hell, last week one of my neighbors shot his wife and was running from police. Before y'all ask, no, I don't live in Chicago. Jeff the Killer was also really fucked up looking, so that made me even more scared of the fucker. Though it's weird how this original image of him is like the only scary image of him. When you see his fan art of this guy, you notice that he kind of looks stupid, which matches with his backstory because that's also very god-awful. Anyways, I know everything I mentioned in this video so far has been Gen Z shit, but I also feared some old shit y'all millennials probably experienced. My cousins had an N64 with Super Mario 64, so whenever I visit them, I watched them play the game with that whack-ass controller. I was scared of a lot of shit in that game, but the one thing that was kind of funny was the default screen where you see Mario's giant-ass face. I don't know why, but it was just spooky. Back when my family had cable television, there was this one channel that used to air a lot of horror content for younger audiences. One of these programs was a show the older generations definitely remembered. Goosebumps. I won't lie, this show was kind of mid even as a kid. Yeah, I said it. Keep booing. Don't get me wrong. Some of the episodes were really scary. The puppet ones got me uncomfortable, and the mask one was also really freaky. But besides that, all the other episodes were kind of ass. So then why do I mention it? Well, what if I told you there was a spiritual successor to the show? The Haunting Hour. The best way to describe this show is that it's a modern version of Goosebumps that isn't afraid to get really dark. Most of the time, these stories don't really have a happy ending. With Goosebumps, we kind of know that the story will have some sort of positive resolution. But with this show, bruh, kids legit go missing. There's this episode where this kid gets stuck in a haunted ice cream truck and he just doesn't escape. Like, his fate is legit, he's stuck there until he finds a new victim to enter the ice cream truck. There's also this episode where it ends with these kids getting eaten by a fucking school mascot, and it just ends like that. Like, this show was hardcore, bro. The episode that had me up at night was actually the first episode of the series. In this episode, this girl buys a life-size doll, but the doll actually ends up being sentient, so the doll ends up turning the girl into a doll, and then the doll takes her place. No joke, there's legit a transformation scene where the girl just morphs into a doll. Then the doll, who's now human, tells her mom to throw away the doll's body. Like, damn. I really don't know if anyone else remembers this show. Let me know in the comments if y'all watched this. Apparently, when I was a kid, I watched Paranormal Activity, and I went a whole week where I didn't want to go to sleep at all because I was scared of ghosts or something. No joke, I don't remember watching this movie at all. Like, I don't even remember the plot or even the characters' names. Last thing I want to talk about in this video is Herobrine. I remember as a kid, I was really scared of fucking Herobrine, mostly because my worlds will always seem to have broken seeds. I remember those old YouTube videos where people would tell you how to summon him, and then I would try to replicate it, and then like nothing would happen. But then like a week later, something weird happens, and then I just think it's fucking him for some reason. So yeah, that's pretty much all the traumatic things from my childhood. Of course, excluding the constant neglect and abuse that I went through every day.